Hello. Welcome to our first ever devotional from Magical Soul events. I am Johanna Burkhart. If you're new to me, we're just waiting on Ashley to hop on. We've had some technical issues this morning, so we haven't been able to go live the way that we thought we were going to, but this live is about finding the peace within, so we are finding the peace. Okay, it says, there's Ashley. It says you are watching. Let's see if I can add you. Add. There she is.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about difficulties. I do not have my headset for my phone either, so we're just going to have to wing it.
Oh man. Okay. Well, and you went live on your business profile?
Oh, on mine?
Mm-hmm.
And not Magical Souls?
No. Holy God. How
Hello.
Crazy.
Well,
we're supposed to talk about this.
We're going to roll with it, and we can download the video and upload it to the other profile, which is fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me see if I can share this out too.
When you guys are hopping on, say hello. We were supposed to go live on our Magical Soul business page so that we could have our monthly devotional, which is where we come on and talk about whatever topics are relevant at the moment and just give back to our community, back to our followers. But that didn't seem to work. So we are here and we are finding the peace within and rolling with it. So just give us a moment. Please share, because this is a message that we could all use, especially coming into the month of February.
Yes, yeah. We're going to be talking about peace, finding the peace within amongst the chaos. How do you get to peace? What is peace to you? What is chaos? All right. Actually.
Did you share it into?
I'm putting it on. And my sun is coming out. Ah! They're like, let's make an example of this. No, you can't have any more chips. Now you're interrupting this when I got you all set up. So you gotta go back inside. Go back inside. If you're good and you stay in there and you let me do this for a little bit, then I will. But I already set you up. He's like, I'm gonna take advantage of this crap. That's all right.
So while she's sharing it out, for those that was able to watch the February energy forecast, this was very timely because the theme of this month is finding the peace within us, is anchoring our light into our physical body, and not getting distracted by all the things we experience in our everyday life, not distracted by our ego mind or the emotional waves that we go through. And so we invite you to post below, what are some things that you are struggling to find peace within you about, or things, what do you do if you are able to find peace? How do you find your peace within? Because this really is a conversation, so we really want to invite you guys to be a part of it so that we can all work together in finding that peace.
Yes. And
please give us a share. This is, again, we will be doing this live monthly on Magical Soul, not my business page, but we're rolling with it.
We are rolling with it. So we were supposed to go on Be Live, and when I was uploading my computer, the clock was wrong, and because my Mac's clock was wrong and the date was wrong, it was like December 30th, 2017. I'm like, oh, I'm back in time. What is the significance of this date? And it wouldn't let me do anything, so I had to like figure out how to like redo my clock. And then as soon as I did that, I got on and it was taking forever to load Facebook. And normally, okay, so being late is one of the main triggers for me that will put me into like impatience and like I'm on the edge and my peace is gone. I don't know, there's just something about me being late that like really stresses me the hell out. This morning when I walked the kids to school, we were late, but surprisingly, I wasn't as stressed out. I'm like, whatever, you're late. And then when we were getting the whole ordeal I was going through here, I just felt peace, and I'm like, well, I'm really glad I'm not choosing my old MO, because I would be like scrambling and freaking out and adding my crappy energy to the whole situation, which doesn't even help. It just exacerbates. So it was a practice of what we were going to preach. So I passed, woo! and then we posted on Johanna's page, and so everything is just so messed up. And I was like, I'm going to schedule this, and then we'll share it out beforehand, so we don't have to be sharing it right now. And that didn't work, because now we we have this that we have to share out, but it's okay.
It is okay. It is okay.
Yes.
Hello, Erica. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you guys for hopping on. I should probably put my glasses on so I can see the comments. Erica, are you freezing? It's so cold everywhere.
Yes, I saw that it's like -45 with the wind chill in some places, and that's insane.
Hi, Patty. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm in North Carolina, and we are supposed to get down into the teens. It's in the 30s right now. That's too cold for me. I don't do cold. I need a beach somewhere warm. My beach is cold.
Come over here. Come over here.
So while she was dealing with her chaos in her peaceful way, I was tuning into who wanted to come through and support our energies today. And I was not surprised to find that Kuan Yin showed up. She seems to be around me on a regular lately, but she is the queen of compassion. And that is something that we need to have for ourselves if we are going to find the peace within. Mm-hmm. Because it's so easy in the situation. This is a perfect situation of what we were just going through, that we could have allowed our adrenals to kick in. We could have allowed our reactions to get in the way and see this as a distraction and get flustered and frustrated and begin spiraling and going down the rabbit hole of why isn't this working and what is wrong with the computer, or attaching to it when we don't need to do that always. And so the fact that we were able to navigate, and you were able to navigate through it and be like, whatever, it'll all work out, everything's fine, we're just going to roll with it. That is finding peace within the chaos. You were able to go to the center of the storm.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a good, you have to go to the center of the storm, because you know that if you are to focus and fixate on the details of what's going on, you're going to be swept away in the tornado, in the hurricane, and you're going to be outside instead of in the center, grounded in your core, in your security, in your stability, while everything's happening around you. Yeah. And this kind of chaos, I mean, it happens in all different facets of our life, and it may, we may be even pulled into somebody else's chaos, right? When we say yes and they invite us into their turmoil because maybe they're wanting advice, if we get too engulfed in their details and their chaos, we may end up bringing it into our lives. Just like if you go and get wrapped up in the collective stuff, you end up sometimes thinking that it's part of your reality and then pulling it in and then spiraling down into it. That's why it's really important to know your reset point, know your core stability, know how to get there, so that when you are faced with turbulence, turmoil, conflict, you're able to stand your ground, you're able to stay centered instead of getting swept away by the current, by the riptide, by whatever it is that's trying to pull you.
Yeah. I've definitely been swept away by the collective. It wasn't that long ago that I thought I healed that wound I did heal the wound of not enough, right? That was a deep wound for me, that I'm not enough. I'm never going to be enough. There's never going to be enough money. There's never going to be enough anything, which leads us seeking, which leads to more chaos in our lives, because we're in that frantic energy of desperateness, right? Where we're searching for all these things. And so we call more of that in. I thought I was I was reliving that wound again. I was like, I thought I healed this. And I kept going on a mission. Where is this coming from? Where is the source of this wound, of this shadow, if you will? And it wasn't mine. I was tapping into the collectives, and I was attaching it to be mine. And therefore, I manifested. I called in more experience to prove that it was mine. And as soon as I realized that it was the collectives that I was feeling, and that for some reason in that instance that I wasn't discerning well, it immediately disappeared. So we have to be discerning of our environment. And that's one of the things that I always try to remind myself of with mindfulness is wherever you go, be there, be where you are, be in that moment, be fully present. Eckhart Tolle talks about being conscious of your consciousness. And what that means is he used this example on with Oprah, not that, some time back. And it was that if you're looking at a flower or tree or whatever it is you're looking at, you see that item, you see that conscious flower, that tree, that living thing. But you need to tap back into you. You need to redirect that energy back into you. What are you sensing? What are you feeling? What are you aware of as you're looking at that thing? And that's the ultimate observation. And that's how you find that peace. When you can detach from that thing and go inward and say, what am I experiencing right now in this moment? For myself.
Yes. It's important to take it back to you. And even so, if it is happening to you, and remember, everything is happening for you or from you, you're creating your reality. It's important when your emotions are high, if you know like what your authority is, or and we're talking about human design here, to give yourself the space to process it. You don't want to just like push stuff away or just truck through it because you have to. It's important to take care of yourself first, and to see like, okay, what do I need in this moment right now to get me back to my reset point, to get me back to 0 point? Because the more it'll build. All this stuff is going to keep building and get louder and louder. And that's why it's important for us to honor ourselves, honor our feelings, and take the time out. And if you can, and you're not an emotional authority, if you can get to a place of detachment and observation. I feel like it's harder when you are feeling the emotions. You're an emotional authority that's defined, and you're going through it. It's even hard when you have an open solar plexus. Like it depends on how anchored into those emotions you are, and how much of a victim you feel you are to your emotions. Like, oh my God, this is really intense. Like, why don't you talk about fear too, Johanna, and how we interpret fear? Because I think that's really important too. Is I like a little analogy you give about fear, because fear will just spiral us, and we feel we are super in it, like it is reality for us, right?
I don't know what analogy you're talking about.
Paying the bills versus getting attacked by a tiger.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh my God. That is our primitive mind, because it doesn't know. I mean, think about it. Look how long we've had this brain. So you'll hear a lot of people in the spiritual community talk about we're not our mind, we're not our body. And you've probably heard me say the same thing. But with that being said, we need our brain, we need our mind, we need our body. They are given to us, they are gifts. However, they are not evolved. Our brain is very primitive. And so it literally knows no difference when you are feeling the fear of, I can't pay my mortgage. It doesn't know that that's not a tiger's about to eat me. It is exactly what she just said. It knows no discernment between the two. And when that response kicks in, you're even in that moment, you're future projecting. So again, we come back to, when you're feeling that fear, be where you are, come back to that moment and stand where you are. Bring all of your presence back in. So I always tell people, like when Ashley and I will do these live card pulls or energy reads, there's oftentimes we will connect with somebody and we'll feel their energy chaotic. So your own energy can be outside your body and like going crazy. And so we call back all that energy and ask you to be present where you are. And that's one of the ways of which you can get out of that fight or freeze moment, is by calling back your energy and reclaiming it and choosing. It is a choice, okay? Because just like we drive a car, Our body is our vehicle. We are in control of that. And we are able to command our energy and say, no, come back to this present moment. Everything is okay. Chantel mentioned breath, and that is a really good thing. Breathing and bringing yourself back into the present moment. There's lots of techniques that use for this, but our mind is just so primitive, and that's why we cannot live in our mind. It's just going to continue to seek, and a logical mind can only prove and disprove itself. So it's going to that's what loop is. That's why you have to completely detach from it and go into your heart. And I am an emotional authority, and so I can tell you the victim pattern is big, and I lived in it for a long time. So the biggest thing that, and you guys I'm sure have heard me share this, but I'll keep doing it until the day I am no longer on this existence, and that is, you have to take responsibility. You have to own your own shit. You have to own your own emotions, because we cannot blame another person for how we feel or what we are experiencing. We have a conscious choice at every moment to say, you know what? This isn't about me. When we make it about me, we suffer. We have conscious to say, I am feeling in this moment fear. I am feeling in this moment insecurity or uncertainty or anger. And you're allowed to feel that. Guess what? You are allowed to feel those emotions. But it is not fair to other people for us to make somebody else responsible for what we feel. That's giving our power.
Or even the weather. Like people give their power away to the weather. Think of, okay, I want to know what pulls you out of peace the most. Like what is that thing? Like mine is being late. I hate being late. And that's what pulls me out of peace. What is your, like, we want to know, pop a comment, what will pull you out of peace like that, right?
This is why, if you guys have been following me for a long time, I'll say, like, I'll be live 12:30-ish, because I don't want to set an expectation that I'll be there on time. So I just set you up for, she's going to show up when she gets there.
Yeah. Well, when it's stuff like this, like when I'm like on the cup and I'm like, oh guys, I'll see you in 10 minutes for a live or whatever, and then I'm late, I'll like be like, oh, it is what it is. But when we like schedule something, I can't even, I don't know, this always happens to me. I'm like, why is this happening? Is it because I'm a sacral authority and it's like, it happens when it happens and time is irrelevant? Like, oh, timelessness, time is irrelevant,
Yeah. Chantel says, my teen making poor choices is one of her triggers. Hi,
okay,
Crystal.
There's something deeper than that, than just like that because if they make poor choices, what does that mean? I feel like it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper until, like, I don't know.
I feel like there's two phases of it. I feel two facets of this. I feel the mirror of your own poor choices, and I really feel like it's kind of a mixture of the two. You feeling responsible for your daughter's actions, or your teen, which if it's not your daughter. And here's the thing. We have to, this is why I was talking about victimization. We have to take responsibility for our own actions, and we have to help our children take responsibility for their actions. And that's something that doesn't happen today.
Mm-hmm. And they choose their experience. They choose what path they take. They choose the choices, and they get to experience what the fruit of that choice is. And it could be good or bad, but that's labeled by you. And so we are not here to control their choices. We're here to teach them, morals, and like what is right, what is wrong, and all that stuff. But even then, it's on them to direct their life, and we can't make it mean anything about us or our parenting or ourselves, or have that fear of where's this choice going to lead them. Because guess what, you're going to start you're going to begin to worry about everything outside of you. Like I know that my mom worries a lot about her kids and my dad and grandma and all this stuff, and she can't sleep because her mind's constantly going to all the things that each of us are struggling with. And because I don't even know, like, it's not like you can fix it, but you worry about it, and you worry about the person, and That's where you're putting your attention on other people's life. The same thing as if you fragment your energy thinking about what happened in the past, what you got to do tomorrow. You're not now in the present. And so when you're not now in the present, it robs you of the peace. The biggest thing is to be now and to be with you and in your reset point and not attached to anything. That's why clear your energy, have that routine, have that ritual so that you can just be your energy and not be worrying about your husband's health, your kid getting bullied at school, or any of these different things, right? We can't worry about all that stuff. All we can do is when we're faced with the problem in the moment, like the husband comes to us, or they're choosing to involve us in their decisions. That's when we can say yes, and that's when we can give our input. But we're not here to just go up in everybody's life, like getting in their energy and like, how can I fix this? That's you asking answers for questions that aren't even yours.
That's control, because I'm familiar with that. And Chantel has a traumatic attachment, a traumatic memory that she's attaching to her daughter's life. And that's where she has to separate the two, because you are the one who's suffering right now, nobody else, because this is not what's happening. She's not, even if she is making, and not to spend a lot of time on Chantel because other people were commenting, but I just want to say that even if she's making poor choices in this moment, all you can do is the best that you can and shine the example. If you spend your life worrying and trying to control and focusing on what could happen, you actually call in more opportunities for that experience. And so you want to release what happened to her or to the traumatic experience. You want to release that and do a lot of healing work around that, and focus on being in this moment and being in the energy of preservation and living each day with your child, right? And it's loving them where they are, because that's what's going to heal, is loving them, having compassion, and doing the right thing. That's all we can ever do. Some other people were talking about traffic. Traffic is one that is a lot for big people, for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's either being late or being like in with a lot of people and not being able to get out when you need to. So again, that could be security. That could be that fear of what if something were to happen? I need to get out of this. I can't get out of this. I know somebody who has a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress when they're driving and they're in traffic, and she has like a huge, even bigger than this, and this is just like shungite and all this stuff, like tourmaline, like she tourmalines it up and just like puts it on her lap. She's also an empath and a clairvoyant and a clairaudient, and so she's like bombarded with everybody's dead people. And that's like, again, do you guys need to be super open? And my aunt also had issues with traffic because she threw out so far.
Sorry guys, I'm sure you can
and
hear.
So she was picking up the guy next to her.
Now.
Oh, what's happening?
Your internet is going in and out. Try bringing all your energy down to your feet.
Okay, hold on.
When you get two people who, and it's 1:11 my time. So when you get two people who are have a lot of galactic energy around them, a lot of high frequency beings, we get a lot of interference. So we sometimes have to take a break and bring all our energy into this present moment.
Yes. That's what I was saying too about my aunt driving in her car. She was throwing her energy out and feeling into everything. So like if somebody like cut somebody off in front of her, she'd get really mad. And I'm like, that wasn't even your experience. She's like, yeah, but he's so stupid. And I'm like, you need to breathe in your energy into just your car. You don't have to throw it out there. And that's another thing. We need to learn about tap into your energy, tap into your aura, see how far out that thing is. And why are you throwing it out there? Most of the time it's because of fear. I need to be able to judge if somebody's going to hop in front of me or something's going to happen, right? But it's causing stress and anxiety.
Yeah. And there's nothing the only thing that we have control over is how we react or respond. Jack Canfield teaches E plus R equals O, and that's the event or experience plus your response or reaction equals the outcome. So the only way to change any situation is to change your personal response. And a lot of that has to do with expectations. So again, when we get pissed off with the weather, for me personally, living through hurricanes and things like that, you know, those are things that are outside of our control. Somebody dying in our life, outside of our control. Somebody who is not making the right choices, outside of our control. All we can do is be there for them, be the example of loving them where they are. And yes, we can still guide them. We don't have to condone their behavior, but we cannot control it. So when you can let that control, then you can come into having compassion and seeing yourself in them, because we have free will. And if you were in that situation, would you want somebody to take your free will? Would you want to not say that you don't get a joy in the way that you live? Of course not.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing a chart. I just pulled it up because I was like, I want to see this chart. But it talks about the things you can control and the things you can't. The things I can control: my words, my actions, my ideas, my play, my effort, my mistakes, my behavior. Things outside of my control: other people's mistakes, other people's feelings, other people's ideas, other people's behavior, other people's play, other people's words, other people's actions. Like Johanna said, we can only control our response to that. So if somebody says something mean to you, or they're feeling panicked, they're feeling anxiety, you get to decide how you react to that or respond to that. Because reacting is, especially as an empath, you're going to feel and sense what they're feeling, and you can either detach from it and just, you know, respond in a way that you're not projecting, or you can take that and then throw it back at them. Because we have the ability to be the mirror and be like, hey, I understand that you're going through a lot of anxiety right now, and you don't need to apologize for yourself. Don't apologize for yourself, because even if they're blaming you, like, you're making me mad, because have you ever had somebody that disrupts your peace because you chose to believe that you were the blame of their mood, right? That's when somebody can't take responsibility for their own emotions, and they blame you for it. So the only thing that we can do is be like, I am sorry you feel that way, but there's nothing you need to change or do. They need to change the way that they react, that they're reacting to you. You know, and you can't tell them, take responsibility for your emotions, because that almost comes off as like uncompassionate, right? They're in their own shit. They're freaking out. And they just want you to change because they're trying to control you to change the way that they're feeling. But they don't know any different at the moment. And it's not the time to teach them the right way either. They won't be responsive to that.
Your audio is all screwed up again. Tony Robbins says, the root of all suffering is self-obsession. So when somebody is projecting, this is something that I tell my child, because he's been bullied in school, and that I tell a lot of parents. And it really helps us when we can take this perspective. Think about food poisoning. If you eat something that is no good, that is poisonous, it has an automatic reaction in your body, right? You break out in hives, you want to vomit, whatever. Your body wants to instantly reject it. I want you to realize that food and words and emotions and thoughts are all energy. They're all one and the same. They just look differently because food, for example, is a physical manifestation, right? Whereas thoughts and emotions, we can't really hold or see with our eyes for the most part. If you are filled with negative emotions, if you are filled with guilt or shame or resentment or anger, if you don't feel worthy, all of these things, these are toxic, right? It's like sitting in a swamp inside of you, and your body is like, this is not helping me thrive. This isn't helping me operate. It's toxic to my environment. I've got to get it out. And so it's rejecting it the same way it would food. So people word vomit. People instantly react and just throw all their shit at you. And when they do that, you have a moment. You have like 5 seconds in that moment to fully discern, not about this is their projection, and not allow it to emotionally trigger you. Now, if it does trigger you in that moment, then they are not responsible. All they have done is push that button that's inside of you, and now that emotion is running. And so again, it's not about you. What they've done is hit a switch or push a button that said, look, you have this emotion that's on the surface, and it's telling you something that you need to look within yourself about. But it's just toxicity. And people, when you can see it as they are just overloaded with toxic emotions and thoughts about their own self or their own life, and they're not owning it, their body's just trying to get rid of it. And it's a necessary part of our evolution. And this is what it means when we say, I am you, you are me. I can see myself in you, because if we can understand that that person is just has a lot of stuff within them that they don't know how to deal with. They don't know how to process. And so it's an important part of our journey. And that's where compassion versus comes in. Empathy, compassion versus empathy. Because I hear so many empaths say that they're the victim of being an empath because they take on other people's shit. Or worse, they choose to process for their child or a friend or somebody. And when you're processing for somebody else, you're robbing them of their evolutionary experience, of the thing that's going to catalyze them to up level in their life. And I'm going to say this in my observations and what I learn with my students is that we are hindering their growth when we step in and take on their stuff. And so we need to come back and have compassion and not empathy. We don't need to take it on for them, because guess what? Now you have taken on all the pain and they are free. And what's going to happen is they haven't learned anything. So now they're going to go do it again. And now you're both suffering.
Mm-hmm.
What is the point of that?
Mm-mm. You were cutting out a little bit when you were talking. There was static. Jennifer says, whenever I'm around a lot of people or people who have a lot of stuff going on, it literally makes me feel sick in my body.
You need more boundaries.
Mm-hmm. I feel, and especially, so a lot of people that I have done readings for with human design, particularly people who have completely open solar plexus centers, that means there's no gates and it's white, super open, they struggle going out in public because they feel everything. There's no definition that's their own. And the problem sometimes that they face is that the reason that they're feeling everything is because they're trying to fill the hole, and they want to feel. They don't have the boundaries around it to discern, because you don't have to feel their stuff. And you can literally direct the energy and be like, okay, let me feel the energy of this room. Okay, I'm done feeling it. And then be done, because I feel like if you are holding on to it and thinking it's your own, it starts to physically affect you. And it's not serving you or anyone else. You don't need to take on other people's stuff. And especially if some people have habits of saving, like being that white horse, you don't even know that you have these patterns where you're going to take on stuff and transmute it and process it for other people. I know that when I'm around my dad or my mom, my close family, I don't feel good, because one of my patterns is taking on stuff for them to transmute for them because I care about them, and it's so subconscious. I had to start recognizing it and start taking inventory about how I feel and about what's going on in my body energetically, so that I can create healthy boundaries and not fall into patterns that I used to fall into. Because you don't need to transmute for anyone. You don't have to save them, because guess what? You're robbing them of their own ability to do it for themselves. And then they're just going to keep. Yeah, it's something we all learn when we're getting attuned to our own energy, and understanding that it doesn't end with our body. Like our energy comes out, and we intersect and interact with people more than people realize.
Yeah. I had to get some grounding stones because the energy is pretty intense over here.
I got mine in front of me.
Bring it down, sister. Bring it down.
Bring it down.
My son is a projector, and he has his whole bottom, all his lower chakras are open. And so he feels the collective very intently. And You know, he suffers a lot with his digestion and his stomach and his body because he is still learning boundaries. And in the beginning of my journey, I used to take his pain on for him, because that's what moms want to do, right? We want to save our children. We want to make them feel better. But what I quickly learned was when I went away and I wasn't there, what was he going to do? Because I wasn't there to take it on. I wasn't there to save him. And then he goes on his whole life. This is something that he's going to have his whole life. And so he needed to learn how to do it for himself and the ways of which he can transmute his energy. And it's never too young to start teaching this. And it's through the embodiment of you doing it that you teach your children. And so I no longer take on his pain. And we go through practices all the time that help him manage his energy, because that's the best thing we can do for our children, is to teach them to take responsibility and manage their own energy and heal it themselves. Otherwise, he's going to grow up and he's going to keep repeating this pattern, looking for someone outside of him to save him, and calling in these experiences. And this happens whether it's your child or your spouse or a client. It's not our job. In fact, we hinder their growth when we do that. And so we start bringing this back to peace. We're not peaceful within ourselves if we're trying to fix it. If we're trying to fix something or someone, then that means we're avoiding our own. We're trying to distract ourselves or deny our issues so that we can we don't have to feel them or experience them because it feels chaotic inside. So we have to come back again to this moment and choose to go within and choose to see our light and how we are experiencing this and what it's showing us, and just knowing that everything has a purpose. Like everything has a purpose in our life. Every traumatic experience, every gift we have has a purpose. And when we can detach from it meaning something other than what it does and being in this present moment, then we create and call in chaos.
Yeah, exactly. I think the biggest part of understanding and attaining inner peace for yourself is we have to get right with ourselves and be very comfortable in our being and our naturalness. And if we can't, we're like, that's the biggest part of peace and attaining peace, is that when you get to that state of peace, it's literally like this, it's acidic state, right? And you are just being. It's a being state. And so if you can look at like the ripple effect of how uncomfortable you are being and in your naturalness, because your mind or whatever is telling you you're not enough, you're not worthy, you're not whole, you start to do things to prove yourself. Like say that you have a you don't feel worthy. You have low self-esteem. You don't feel worthy. So you feel you have to do to be, or you have to do to earn. And so you make your life super busy, right? Because you feel like to earn your keep or to earn your place here, or to be who you are, you have to do. You have to prove yourself. And then I think that's like also having an open will center. There's a lot of worth stuff going on there. But you do that, you make it super busy, right? And then what happens? The external world is like, she wants to be busy. Let's give her a bunch of stuff to keep her busy. Then you never have a chance to go inside and look at the root cause of this, the worthiness, the enoughness. And you deprive yourself of the luxury, actually the right of being. You get to be in your naturalness. You get to be you, and you don't have to do anything. And so if you're doing to prove or doing to get worthy, then your outside world reflects it. And so if your life is super chaotic for you and you just can't get a moment to yourself, stop, because all that shit doesn't matter. And I want you to look inward and be like, how chaotic am I inside? What is going on through my mind? What am I telling myself? What are these patterns? Because if you want the external to shift, you better do something inside. It starts here, and it's a reflection out there. So take that inventory, take that time. Don't dishonor yourself. Go look at your emotions. Go look at your thoughts. Go look at what is the thing outside of me reflecting to me. If you can't go within, start being mindful and looking at the patterns, because it's just a reflection.
You know, I noticed that people don't want to sit still anymore. They don't want to just sit with their thoughts or sit with what they're feeling, and do nothing. We turn on the TV, we flip through social media, we do housework, we do all these external things from all these distractions. And what they're doing is distracting us from the knowledge that we need most, which is within us and not outside of us. And while, having guidance from outside can be good at times because it triggers something, triggers a remembrance, that's not what most people are using it for. They're using it as a distraction. They're using it to avoid what they're feeling or thinking. When it's in the sitting in the presence of it, it's in the acknowledging and seeing it, that we actually release it, and we don't have to keep living it over and over again. It's when we sit with our emotions and we sit with our thoughts and we say, can I love myself and accept myself where I am? Can I see the purpose in this? And even if you can't, if you can just accept that's where you are and surrender it, and not try to avoid it anymore, you'll actually move through it. You won't have to keep avoiding it anymore, because in the avoidance, when you're avoiding something inside, your external reality will keep bringing it into your life physically, so that you can no longer avoid it. And this is where a lot of times people get those big nervous breakdowns, or these big things happen in their life, because guess what? They're avoiding inside, and so externally, the environment keeps calling it in, so that you can see it over and over and over again. And so, before I forget, Catherine asked, is it good then to cheer them on when they're in their power, when they find a way to release their own emotions without rooting for them? Yes. So you can be their cheerleader, you can be their guide, you can be their facilitator, just like an energy worker, right? We're not feeling you. We're using our energy to facilitate yours. So you can guide them, you can give them guidance and cheer them on, without taking it on.
And it's positive reinforcement for them. Sometimes it helps them to continue to do it for themselves because they need that positive reinforcement and that recognition. I feel like I'm avoiding. I wish I could find out what it is. Before you ask that question, Alana, Alana, I was saying her name right. I just opened my book because I was like, I need to open my book. I've opened to the 24th gene key, which is addiction, invention, and silence. And you have to be able to get to the gap of your awareness to receive that insight into what you're avoiding, because there's a rabbit hole that you're probably facing in your mind, and your mind is trying to figure it out, but your mind is just going to keep you in the box, and you're not going to get any new answers. You're not going to get to the root of it because you're stuck in here, right? Or you're stuck in the reality, or you're what are you distracted with? And can you sit with yourself long enough in the gap, in the silence, to wait for that insight? It's our mind that is the most addictive thing, and it's going to keep us from getting that answer because it wants to keep us in the box. The way to get out of the box is to rest in the gap. You have to find that quiet place within yourself, because it's really uncomfortable for a lot of people. We only get to be in there for a little bit, and then we get agitated, or something outside of us distracts ourselves, or we're like, oh, I have a to-do list, I got to do stuff, and we don't stay there that long. But for you, just try to get to the gap, to the silence, to the quiet, and that's when you will figure out the thing you're avoiding will be like, hi, I'm here.
I keep hearing my Kundalini yoga teacher in my head telling me to go to the edge, and when you find your edge, move through the edge, and then you overcome it. It's the same thing with meditation. So if you're new to meditation and you're not doing a guided meditation, if you're just sitting in the silence, or even with meditation music, sometimes our thoughts go crazy and we end up winding. So I'm going to give you, I don't know, this is coming in, so I'm just going to share with you guys a couple of techniques that I use when my mind goes crazy, because it's in the stillness of our mind of nothing. So we're not looking for thoughts. We're not creating thoughts. We're just being, and we're observing that this is the gap that she speaks of. We're not affected by the distractions outside. So 2 ways is you can see your ego, these thoughts that are coming in, as a puppy that's biting at your leg, like at your pant leg. You have 2 choices right then, right? You can yell at the dog, you can kick the dog away, and the dog's just going to keep coming back. These are the thoughts. Or you can pick the puppy up. You can see that the puppy's in fear, and you can love it. So you can see yourself in your mind holding the puppy, which is your ego, right? Your mind, and calming it and saying, it's okay, it's safe, it's okay, and you can do that. The other thing is seeing it as all the scattered thoughts as little orbs. And you have a central light, right? I always talk about being the lighthouse. Your mind's the central light. And these thoughts are all out here. That makes your light dimmer because all the light is out there, right? It's out seeking something. And so every time a thought goes out, you can see it pulling the orb in and making your light brighter, and just pulling them in each time. And through this practice, repetition of doing these things, you can therefore bring your mind back to stillness. And it is a practice. This is why Ashley and I are teaching these fundamental courses about how you best quiet your mind, how you best transmute your energy. Because it's not going to be the same for everybody. But those are two things that you can use. It is. Sometimes we have to sit in that meditation in that dark space, or just lay in our bed and stare at the wall or the ceiling or whatever until we break. Because your ego is either going to take control, or you're going to take control of it by allowing your heart to lead. But either way, one's going to win. One isn't going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What is Lynette saying? I've slipped into
She says, I've slipped into this addiction of hiding in the bathroom and feeling into my energy a couple times a day because it's calm, peaceful, and loving. This makes sense about the external chaos. My house is really busy and my adult daughter's negative energy draws me down. I'm really working on not taking on her energy and staying centered. I like that you're doing that. I like that you're taking the time to go in the bathroom. I would work on more forgiveness and acceptance of your daughter, and not seeing almost like no more comparison of the energy in you and her, because she's at a different place than you, and it's not good or bad. You just have to learn to neutralize yourself so that you don't have a reaction inside your body or sensing it to her, because she's got to work out her own stuff.
Yeah. That's again comes back to building that structure within you and having that solid foundation. So when you get out of bed in the morning, you do whatever your ritual is that creates that doesn't create it. It anchors you into your foundation, and that foundation is sturdy. So when you walk out of your bedroom and into the house, your foundation isn't cracked or crumble. Or need immediate repair every time, her energy is entered into the mix. It really is about having those malleable boundaries and understanding where your energy ends and hers begins, because then she can be in the most negative energy. She could be throwing a tantrum. She could be freaking out. And you could be calm and peaceful and just be observing and not be trying to shield yourself or hiding or having to go and run in the bathroom and clean it out every time. You're doing what you can with where you are right now, and so I commend you for doing that, because not a lot of people would even do that. They would just sit there and take it on and then be the victim of it. So be proud of yourself, Lynette, for at least knowing that you need to take the time to clear yourself out. But I would recommend you building that sturdy foundation, knowing that
Yeah. Because if we allow anyone to drag us down, we're giving some of our power away to that person. And as we said about judgment and neutralizing, because any judgment on anyone else is a judgment on ourselves, we're taking our power away when we judge someone else. So when we can neutralize, there is no power being taken away. We're not judging anyone else. Looking at our codependency cords, I know that I judged the crap out of my husband because we had codependency cords, and him doing stuff affected me. I'm like, hey, stop! You're connected to me. Stop affecting me, right? But once we can get in our sovereignty and reset ourselves and not need anyone outside of ourselves to feel security, stability, anything like that, then you feel that judgment starts to go away, because we're not putting any part of ourselves on someone else or something else. People do this a lot with money too. We really need to look at our relationship with money, because money is a big thing that people give their power away to, and they victimize themselves by putting it above.
Or they see it as something outside of them. And it's not. It's not something you have to obtain. We're all made from the same source, including money. The chair, the phone, our self, our car, our home. It's all the same. We're all from the same source. And when we can see that, it can change a lot of things for us, you know. It's not about the money. It's never about the money. It's about your attachment to the money, or you thinking that you need that thing to make your life free or to make your life happy. When in reality, if you could just get happy with where you are and feel the freedom that you have right now, you'll actually call in more of those experiences, and by proxy, you'll call in the money.
Yes. So did any of you guys have questions, or have any more things you want to add to what maybe pulls you out of peace? Because I know a lot of you joined a little bit late. We were talking to people about it's all about changing perspective. When we change perspective and we get unattached to things, we get to come back to peace, because it is all about being. Peace is a being state. And to get there, you got to get right with you. You got to look at what's going on inside of you. Peace is all about looking at the waters within you. Is it a storm or is it calm? Because you can get into that center point, that eye of the storm, where your waters may be crazy, but at least you're in the middle, you're grounded in the center, and you're in the pool of, I don't know, serenity, while stuff outside of you is going crazy.
You know, I want to talk about this because I've been seeing a lot of it, or I was seeing a lot of it when it came to the government shutdown. And there was a lot of people blaming the government or blaming the president or whatever, blaming everything. And, you know, throwing all their stuff on social media, which is fine. My observation of it is, though, that is, again, something that is outside of our control. Right? We are not the government, and we are not somebody who single-handedly can walk in there and change that. And it's in the letting go of control and asking, what is the purpose in this for me? What can I do with what I have, where I am now, instead of blaming, freaking out, and creating chaos in social media land, because we want to yell and play games. Whether we agree with this circumstances that are happening in our world today, each of us in our response, in our ownership, being in our power within us, it starts with us. We have to do it in our own homes, in our own bodies. That's the only way.
Yep.
Thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Megan. When I was reading in my book about the 19th gene key, which we're in right now, codependence, sensitivity, and sacrifice, it talked about where we are as a collective in this state of codependence. And it's funny that you brought up the government, because it is codependent relationship. We give our power away to the government, and guess what's going to happen eventually? We are going to want to take our power back, and we're like, I don't need you I don't need you for security. I don't need you for this. And there will be some kind of revolution, because we are cutting those cords. And when a cord is cut, let me tell you, both people know, right? And so when people start retaliating, living off the grid, not relying on the government, not paying taxes, what is going to happen? It's going to start. Like, people are going to start doing that because they're going to see the flawed system, and something does need to happen, because that shit needs to burn down to build a new thing, because it's just not working. And that's my opinion. That's just my opinion, right? And you don't have to agree with it. I don't associate myself with any party. I don't have those labels. And I don't have a religion. My religion is love. And let's leave codependence and get to sensitivity, where we are independent, because it's from going to codependence to independence. And we're robbing ourselves of peace, because we're giving our power away to the government or to whoever, where they control certain aspects of our life and tell us, here, you need this shot. Here, you need this and that. And oh, I'm going to now put a chip in you. And I don't want to create fear or whatever. I'm just like, does this make sense to anybody? Like, I think it's time for a change.
It is. And I understand that people weren't working. I understand that people were having financial struggles, but that is an opportunity in my mind for communities to rise up and support each other. I know that my community did a lot for the Coast Guard. I know that I saw a lot of communities doing things. It's an opportunity. And here's the thing, everything always happens for a reason. There's a purpose behind everything. It provides us an opportunity to do something different, to help each other, to rise collectively, to do things in a new way. And so we are always given these opportunities to change the way that we are living. And when we don't take them, instead sit and play victim and blame, then nothing changes. Nothing changes. So it comes back to taking responsibility and saying, you know what, I can't control this. I can't control what the government is doing, but I can control what I do. And I can find a community organization and rally the people and start growing our own food or do some things in the community to help each other. And this is why Ashley and I are doing what we're doing. Right? We do monthly experiences and healings in our group. We are now doing these monthly devotionals on our business page. We want to be of service in every way that we can, because that's the right thing to do. It's not about the money. The money will come naturally from us being of service. It's about loving who we are and loving Christ and seeing ourselves in you and wanting together. And so when we are given these opportunities, we take action on it. You just have to keep that in your mind. These things happen.
Mm-hmm. If you want to see change, how are you going to be the change? Right? And some of the stuff you have to also look in and be like, is this a reaction to this? Right? Can I look at a deeper pattern? Why is this bothering me? Because you can neutralize any situation, but there's some things that I feel you have a soul calling on. And you have this spirit within you to be that change because you're here to do a certain thing. And other things, it's for you to just neutralize yourself too, because you don't have to be reacting to this. Like a lot of people were upset about the kids at the border, right? Being taken away from their family or whatever was happening. You need to ask yourself, what do these children represent to you? And how is it an attack on you? Because the reason you're feeling emotionally triggered by it is because it actually means something. It always means something about us. So anytime you feel that conflict or disturbance in your force, you need to ask yourself, why? And what does this mean about me? Before you want to take action and throw up your arms and be like, this is injustice and all this stuff. Like, yeah, that's great, but you can't come from a place of rage or anger. If you are going to be a revolutionary and want to rebirth something, you have to come from a place of love and peace and knowing this needs to change, right? And not because I'm scared or whatever it is, or fear or anger or hate. That's going to get you no traction, and you are going to just breed from that energy. More hate, more anger, more suffrage.
So yeah, Alana's talking about the shift happening with the hurricane. And Alana actually is in my community, and so I can tell you that the hurricane was very devastating to my area. But what happened in that time, you know, when you go a couple of weeks without power and a lot of people didn't have homes anymore and businesses were destroyed, you saw people talking to each other that normally wouldn't talk to each other. You saw people helping each other that wouldn't normally associate with each other, you know, because we put these labels and judgments on people and say, I can't be seen with this person, or I'm not in that class or whatever. And you saw that disappear because human kindness and human nature stepped in and overrode our ego, and people stepped up. And that's, again, these natural disasters, these shutdowns, these things that happen, they are happening for a reason. There's a lot of collective negativity that needs to be transmuted, and it gives us an opportunity to tap into our heart and find our compassion, find our peace, to make peace again, because we can only control what's inside. And that can always be the place that you go. Find your calm. Close your eyes, take a breath, and find that peace that lives within your heart. It doesn't have to be fair.
And you don't have to be called to do anything. You may just be called to go within and find that peace within you. I know during a lot of disasters, people are like, "Where is the government? Where are the people helping us?" And that's blame, and that's judgment, right? Too. If you can do anything about it, do something about it. You know, like you got to everybody has to take their power back. So you can't start blaming on other people. You know, and this goes down to like the minute details of your life too. It's not just these bigger things that happen. There's hurricanes that happen in your life that are not hurricanes. You know, there's earthquakes that happen within you that are not real earthquakes. And we have to address the damage that these cause, because a lot of us are leaving parts of ourselves in ruins because we don't want to face it. And we don't want to look at it. We're like, no. I'm too busy. I got to save the world. I'm too busy. I got too many people to worry about. Worry about yourself. You're about to crack.
Yeah.
You're going to have a break. Mental, emotional, physical. What do you say about Mother Earth?
Mother Earth is different. She's no different than us. She is a being. No. She is a living, breathing organism, and you know, look how we treat her, and look how we and so you wonder why she's got to cleanse the same way we cleanse our energy, and we get rid of things, right? And so it happens, and that release of energy, think of it as like a chiropractor, right? When you go and you have that adjustment, you have that crack, you feel that pressure release, that's energy that's stuck. All this stuff that we're doing to her, she's got to release that energy, and it releases through storms, through earthquakes, through plate shifting, through water moving. And we, you know, and then we play victim to that. And it's like, no, we are the creators of our own reality. Let's be real here. When we're not just these, you know, these beings that are helpless. We are not helpless. We have a lot of power. It's time we take it back.
And I don't want people to think that Mother Earth is mad. She's raging right now. I think I love natural disasters. Honestly, they fascinate me. I'm very neutralized with them. Even if there was an earthquake. Last time we had an earthquake, which was like a big one, was Easter, long time ago. I was in Blockbuster. That tells you how long ago it was. Blockbuster. You were probably, maybe you were here, Johanna. I don't know. Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, we're having an earthquake. This is the coolest thing in the world. Oh my God. And everybody around me was like, oh, what do I do? Honestly, why don't you find joy? I mean, you know, huh? Maybe. I don't know.
7.2. It's a big.
Yes. It was like the epicenter was in Mexico. And it was close, you know, so we were feeling it. I was like really close to the border because I used to live like 5 minutes from the border. So I was like, wow, this is my first earthquake I felt. And now since then I get hits. There's going to be an earthquake. There's going to be an earthquake. I learned long ago it was warning me of an internal earthquake that I needed to address because there was stuff going on within me and I was about to break emotionally. So take inventory of your own emotions, because if you don't, you're going to build up that pressure within you, and then you're going to break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning,
and
Sky.
Katie says she doesn't want to or read the papers, and neither do I. I'll see stuff. When I was talking about the government shutdown, I was talking about the people who are posting, complaining about it, not actually watching the news on it. I stopped watching the news years ago because it affected me dramatically, and I had to separate myself from that fear-based toxicity, because there's nothing generally ever heartwarming. They're always about breeding the fear, and so it's a good self-energy management practice to not watch the news.
You have to ask yourself, like, what's the agenda here? Whenever you are listening to somebody else, or you're watching the news, or watching a movie even, what subconscious message are they giving you? What emotion are they wanting to elicit from you? Because for those of us that are like really emotional and emotional beings, a lot of people can sway us and market us by making us feel a certain way. You know, oh my God. I remember watching the presidential address or whatever, and he was talking about the wall. And like I started crying because I was like, oh, yeah, we need a wall. We need a wall. Because he was like, it's not that we hate the people outside of us, it's because we love ourselves. And we need to take care of ourselves. And I was like, yeah, we all need to take care of ourselves. You know, but like he was eliciting an emotional response. I won't go into like what I believe about that because it doesn't matter. It's not my decision. I'm not voting. Like, it's not my decision. Somebody else is deciding that. And yeah, we have to suffer the consequences of other people's actions, but we're the ones who voted people. Anyways, let's get out of politics and government. I don't know why I keep going back there.
Let's get out of it's a spiral.
I don't even talk about that stuff.
I want to say one thing about compassion, because the last time I remember watching a news story was about, my husband happened to be watching the world news, and I was in the kitchen and I overheard the story. I guess it was a family that had like 13 kids, and they were torturing the kids or whatever, and the parents were on trial. And I remember hearing the story, and my first thought, and this is how you know when you've shifted into a different reality, right, than this three-dimensional fear-based bullshit. My first thought was I had immediate compassion for the parents. And as I was feeling that, my husband was like, I think the parents should be tortured the way they tortured the kids. And I kind of looked at him in observation of how I was feeling. At first, like, why am I feeling compassion for the parents? And the reason I was because I had to think, what came through for me was, what did these people experience that is so toxic and traumatic in their life that they aren't dealing with, that they felt that they had no other option than to project it onto their kids? And so that's when you know you shifted, because it's not, it comes back to power over us. We don't want to take anybody's power away. We have to see it for what it is, and that's what it was. And it will catalyze something great for those one day.
So we're needing to be able to catalyze and maintain peace within ourselves. We need to attain neutrality. We need to constantly look at the waters within us, take inventory about ourselves, because whatever's happening externally is just a reflection. So finding peace within is the most important thing, because that's what ripples out into your life. So look at the things that pull you out of peace. Observe those things. Figure out how to neutralize yourself against them, to look at it from a different perspective, because nothing should have its power over you. Nothing should be able to take peace from you. You have peace. It's within you. It's not given to you. It's not something you find outside of yourself. And the more we can attune ourselves with our own inner well of peace, the easier it is to get there, and the easier it is to stay there. And that just takes radical self-acceptance, responsibility for yourself, not trying to control your external world, because that's not to blame. That is not what is causing you the inner turmoil. It's because you are placing that power over you. This is causing me to not feel peace. No, there's something deeper in you that you're not looking at, and you have full responsibility over this reaction to that thing. So just look within. That's the biggest thing. And try not to control outside of you. It has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Tracy,
there's a little feature. You see somebody's post, if you don't like it, you can hit hide, or you can delete them as a friend, or unfollow them so that you're not seeing their stuff. But again, we have the power, and if somebody takes it personally that you unfriended them, that's their choice to take it personally and attach meaning to it, other than you don't want to see their energy and feel their energy on your feed. So that's my advice on doing your Facebook. But I do want to get this wrapped up, because we've been on for a long time, and I want to say that this will normally be on our Magical Soul business page, so I will share the link in the comments for that page if you guys want to join us every month for this. And then also, you know, we're trailblazing here. We have a sacred Facebook community that is by a one-time donation of devotion, because we are wanting to cultivate a space where people are thirsty for this kind of information, who are wanting to take the generous teachings we bring forth and the sharing that everybody provides and put action to it. We don't want just a group full of people. So if you want to join us in that space, we would love to have you, and we'll post some information about that as well.
I just posted the link to that in the comments. And if you're wanting to join the group, you can. We're going to be having an experience in February. We're going to be talking about divine design and the basics of human design and understanding yourself, your own energy. We have an experience in there. Oh, never mind. It's not in there anymore. Every time we have an experience, after a couple of days, it gets taken out. But you always have access to the replay if you want to purchase that, or if you're part of our 1111 subscription. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. Johanna goes live, I go live, and we're taking
raw,
care of
real. We don't.
Yeah. That's the only way to show up.
It's so hard to tell when you're done talking.
Really? Sorry. We will get on our computers next time. We're on our phones and it's not working out too well, but that's okay. We're gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna roll with it.
Yes.
All right. We ready to wrap up?
We are. Thank you, Alana, for sharing. That's what we're here to do. This is part of our mission and our purpose in helping other people. And you know, if you guys feel called, join us in our sacred space in our Facebook group for learning about your own energy and human design. And that will be on February 16th. And otherwise, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you taking that time to hang out with us.
Bye.
Bye.